to see your excitement excite somebody else and for them to enjoy it, that's the really cool part about whiskey. Okay, where would you like me to start? So obviously when I was very young, I didn't know a whole lot about whiskey. I always found it so curious that my mum had tubs full of talcum powder. They were sitting on top of the toilet cistern, and it was beautiful because it looked like a sunrise on this box, and it said Highland Park, but at the time I had no idea what it was, and that's where she kept her talcum powder, proper nana. But it was only, I suppose, years later that I found out my uncle worked in the whiskey industry. He was actually the brewer at the time, and he had his name on the bottles and he had his name on the boxes. But it was only when I started then working in the bars. Like, obviously you can work in a bar, you know, like anyone with a pint and stuff, but there's always just the fascination of single malt and the age statements, how long they've been sitting there for, how old they are. It was curiosity. I really love how things are made and the roots of how each spirit is made, the stories behind them. It was only when I started working in a whiskey bar that you really kind of understood the time and energy, you know, particularness that's used to make them. I think the smell of whiskey is always so interesting. You can pick up so many different things from it, and as we've done many times, you can go back again and get something totally different, and it's amazing the senses that you can pick up just from nosing a bottle, never mind having it in your glass. It's really personal flavours and smells I always get from the bottles and from the whiskey itself. When I was leaving the bar, I was given a really cool gift of Glendronach, which is my favourite distillery, and it was Glendronach 24-year-old, and I always thought, as I travel a lot, you know, it's amazing, it's great to take a little piece of home with you wherever you are, just for the right moment. So we went to Morocco, and I never thought I'd ever get to the Sahara Desert and drink one of my favourite all-time whiskies, and I got to share it with the people that we were with as well, and they thought it was so cool. I'll always remember that, you know, you're sitting under the stars in the desert, and it's crazy that you can just have this one little whiskey, and it's like, it makes it what you'll always remember, and it was, yeah, quite surreal, but very, very cool. Sometimes you've got to struggle with when to open a bottle and when to stop drinking it. I think that's the biggest struggle. No, it's true. Like, coin collectors and stuff, they just look at their coins the whole time, but with whiskey, you enjoy the whiskey. Oh, well, I do anyway. I collect it to drink it and enjoy it, but sometimes you just get to the end of the bottle and you almost feel a slight regret for drinking it all, and you go, oh, I might never get that bottle again. And it's amazing that you really want to enjoy it, but you don't want to see it go. And I think that's one of the things I do struggle with. Maybe that's why I've got 10 bottles of Glendronach. I'm not sure. Maybe that's why I was excessive with that, because I really, really enjoy sharing it. You know, we collect whiskey because we enjoy it. Apart from the people who want to sell it, and I don't think they're really collectors. I think they're just jumping on a money market, that they know what they're doing and they know what they're talking about and they know where to make money. But I wouldn't say that that's a whiskey collector, because really any collector is there to have their thing to enjoy. Just we drinkers. Definitely opinionated. And I think sometimes so many people kind of have that because they're really, you know, proud about their brand that they know or like. But I'd like to think I wasn't overly snobbish about anything, because I like everybody to enjoy everything there and the way that they want to drink it. And I suppose the snobbery is more against the big corporations. So sometimes, yeah, I can probably turn my nose up at certain whiskies or the way that they're displayed. And also, if a boy tries to tell me that he thinks he knows more than whiskey than me. But that's not snobbery, that's pride. always been one of the pitfalls working in any industry, as we all know. Okay, even when I started working in bars, I had guys who thought they knew more than me about beer and everything, but I never saw any of my female peers when I was growing up drink whiskey. Ever. And it was always your uncles, it was always your granddad, it was always your dad, it was always the men. So then start getting interested in it in the workplace. Again, it was always guys who felt that they knew more about whiskey, and the more in depth I got into it, I am fairly geeky, so I really love reading up about a lot of stuff and learning. So I learned a lot more facts and stuff than they would. They just would say how it was. They didn't know about any of the cool little geeky facts, and I think that's what makes your passion really come out. And it's men coming up and bypassing you to look for a man behind the bar to ask about whiskey really ruffle my feathers. It angers me to the point, because I would be the most qualified one behind that bar. But so many times I watched myself, to my friends, to a lot of the females that we worked with, who were always looked and bypassed because they didn't think that a woman knew about whiskey. I thought was absolutely bizarre. And then you almost feel like you don't want to share your knowledge with them. You'd almost spite them, which isn't really great, but it's a sad way that the industry still works in. I know a lot of people are trying to change it, and there are a lot of women in high positions. It shouldn't always be so shocking that a woman is in charge or in that kind of position or place, or even just behind the bar, that can tell you about whiskey. I don't question you that you should know your job, but you're surprised that I know mine. It's something that's going to probably evolve and, you know, change, but at the same time, it's always going to be the way of the world in a lot of aspects, but we would like to be able to change that. I don't think it's an obsession. I think it's a fascination and a passion, something that you can enjoy. I'm not obsessed. I couldn't afford to be obsessed with it. I couldn't. But I think I'm fascinated, and I think it's something that I know it's going to always be with me to enjoy. And so, while I can be slightly obsessed with certain distilleries and what they're bringing out and what they're doing, no, I just think it's something that I really enjoy, and the fact that I work with it just makes it better.